So with that, I'll turn it over to Diana Gallagher.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Garlington. I am an Everytown for Gun Safety Survivor Fellow and a volunteer for Moms Demand Action Gun Sense. I want to start by thanking Senators Reid and Whitehouse, Congressman Cicilline and Langevin, Governor McKee, and Attorney General Noronha for their leadership in organizing this event and for inviting me to speak today. I reside here in Rhode Island, in a community where families have been devastated by the plague of gun violence. I personally have been affected by gun violence. I lost my 21-year-old daughter, Essence, in a drive-by shooting in 2011. Shootings like the ones we saw last week leave survivors scarred and traumatized, and they make us fear for our safety and the safety of our loved ones. I have fought for the past decade, pleading for justice for my daughter. I have fought for the last decade, pleading for justice for other families. As a mother and a survivor, I have been offered thoughts and prayers over and over again. While I appreciate those kind words, those thoughts and prayers will not bring Robert Denton, Jermaine Willis, Dimitri Perry, Shamika Barrows, Stephen Latimer, and many other families who have lost their child to gun violence. It's time. It's time for us to act. We can no longer sit back and say that these laws will not help us. We can no longer sit back and say that we're worried about protecting the Second Amendment. These are our children. These are children that we're burying. I'm numb today because a 19-year-old female was shot last night. And it continuously brings up the wounds that I carry every day when I think about losing my child. The leadership of our congressional delegation and President Biden passed the American Rescue Plan, Rhode Island, and they will receive almost $1.8 billion in funding to counter the effects of the pandemic, and that will include gun violence. Our state and local governments can and should use that funding to increase support to organizations such as the Nonviolence Institute, Safer Communities for Justice, the Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence, and many other organizations that conduct crucial violence intervention work. We must also pass Attorney General Noronha's common sense package of bills that will limit the flow of illegal guns onto our streets through store purchases and theft, stop the spread of deadly high-capacity magazine and military-style weapons in Rhode Island, and more. Some of these bills have been reintroduced year after year for close to a decade with no vote. It's time to bring them to the floor. Rhode Island shouldn't have made the news nationally for a mass shooting. We should be making the news for common sense gun laws. We should be making the news for making these families feel like they have some sort of comfort and solace for all the pain that they have endured by losing their loved ones to gun violence. We continuously hear that we're worried about our Second Amendment rights. What about these families that we have to go and speak to and tell them that their loved ones are gone? How about they come along with the Nonviolence Institute or some of the advocates who are out here fighting these violent crimes? How about they come and tell them that their families are gone? We don't need any more gun violence. We need common sense laws, and I'm asking you, please act and pass these laws today. We must do this. We must make this change. This is the only way that we are going to stop the nonsense violence that we have endured for many years. And if we don't act now, we will continue to see our families suffering. We will continue to have the Nonviolence Institute up all night. We'll continue to see Congress asking and fighting for these laws. And as I said, it's time. It's time for us to act. Thank you.
There will be opportunities for individual questions with my colleagues. I want to thank Diana for those incredibly moving words, all of my colleagues in government, but I believe Senator Whitehouse has to get on an airplane and go start fighting the fight. So if you'll forgive us, we're off to the battle. Thank you.